Hello everyone. Today I'm gonna start I'm gonna play two different decks. One deck is actually I'm testing out I'm testing out two two different decks about two different heroes of the new expansion coming out, the Knights of Themis expansion. And one of the decks actually is the game the to start off the game is themed around heroes, and most cards I prefer. Let's just say I prefer having I prefer the theme of the game is pretty much having cards, having hero cards be like the main theme of decks. So players, I like players cards that I like decks that have heroes within them. And let me show you what a hero is. A hero card, for example. Let me make it closer. Maybe you guys can see it. So this is a hero card, and it'll be easier to see here. There we go. This is a hero card, and the I'm actually testing out this hero because this is the main. This is one of the main heroes of the upcoming expansion, the Knights of Themis upcoming expansion. So I'm just in the process of testing out the decks with each hero, each copy of this hero. So the hero is Karimia. The hero is Karimia, but she has many different copies that have different effects and a different cost, a different stats, and that's pretty much what I'm testing out right now. When you buy the packs are separate depending on the heroes of the game. So for let's say the Knights of Themis expansion that's coming up, you can buy a Karimia hero pack with all her heroes inside the pack. So you're not buying each hero separately; you buy them together. But also, you don't have to buy any of the heroes of a pack. You don't need any of the heroes in the deck. I just like having the heroes in the deck because that's pretty much what the theme. That's the theme of the game. Each expansion is based off certain heroes, and those heroes have cards. They may have creatures, leader cards, crystals, domains, etc. So there are a lot of card types in the game, and a hero card is simply just a card type of the game. There are also creature cards, and this is also one of the upcoming creatures of the expansion. It's the Knights of Themis. So these are squires, and you see it says quick, destined, and formidable. Quick means when you play it on the battlefield. Let me not get these cards mixed up. So when you play this card on the battlefield, you may attack that turn, the turn that you play it. That's what quick means. Destined means that every, while this card is in your hand, you may show it to every other player. So it's exposed. You have to expose it to every other player. Once it's exposed, at any time in the game, a player while it's still in your hand, the player can ask to look at that card. And when there are effects that say take a card from an opponent player's hand, they can choose to take any card that's already been exposed from that player's hand. They can also take cards that aren't exposed, but those cards are random. So if the cards are not exposed, they'll have to guess what card they want. But if any exposed cards in that hand can be chosen, specifically. So that's the drawback of this card is that when you expose it, every other players now can see that you have this card in your hand. But the upside of the destined effect is that once you've exposed it to all players, reduce its crystal cost by 1. And every player's turn that is exposed in your hand, its crystal cost is reduced by 1 each turn. So this 9 cost, the moment you expose it, this 9 cost will turn to 8. And then the next player's turn, it'll turn to 7 in your hand. Then when it comes back to your turn, it'll turn to 6. So you'll be able to play this 9 cost as a 6 cost. See? So that's the mechanic of destined. And then there's the last mechanic is formidable. Formidable is that when this creature attacks, so when a creature attacks, you have to tap it to indicate that it's attacking. So when a creature attacks, only 3 or more creatures can block it. So when this creature attacks, only 3 or more creatures can block it. So if there's only 2 creatures and it attacks your opponent player, these 2 creatures won't be able to block it anymore. And before that, when a creature attacks, usually what happens is as long as there are no creatures that are tapped, any creature can block it. Creatures cannot attack other creatures unless the creature has taunt effect, which none of these do. So when this creature attacks your opponent player, it deals its attack points. Its AP as damage. Players also have attack points, defense points, which is 3. This is 3. Players have attack points, defense points, and health points. Creatures have attack points, defense points, and health points. Heroes only have attack points and defense points. Because heroes do not have health points. Just to let you know. Because the stats of a hero, when you play a hero goes right behind the domain. This is pretty much just a placeholder. Just to make it more clear. Place this back. So you can, a hero is played behind a domain. That's the position you put a hero. Creatures go here. So this row right here are the rows that I can play creatures. Your opponents also have their own role where they can play creatures in front of them. It doesn't have to be exactly in front. It could be all the way down there, here, just depending on where the player is sitting at. But I'm sitting right here and it's all facing me. So when a creature attacks, you tap it. Any untapped creature on your opponent's side of the battlefield can block any attacking creature or any attacking leader. These 2 decks, I don't think there are any leaders in them. So you don't have to worry about, I won't show you leaders in this explanation, in this video. At least not right now. So these are token creatures, which I'll go on later on. Token creatures are pretty much creatures that effects tell you to create during the game. They're not like regular creatures that come inside a deck. These are regular creatures. Well, these are creatures. These are great creatures, but while these are token creatures. Great creatures have see the difference between a great creature and a regular token creature? And that's why they want to use regular for this, is because regular creatures have no stats. I mean, they have no effects. See these are effects. Quick, destined, and formidable, these are effects. Great creatures also have a title. So great creatures have a title, Battle Brave. That's the title of this great creature. So this is a Battle Brave great creature. While token creatures, most of them are regular creatures, meaning they have no stats. I mean, they have stats. Sorry about that. They have no titles. They have no effects, and all regular creatures, copies of regular creatures, are usually the same. So, and every great creature is a copy. It's a great creature copy of a regular creature, meaning that for this great creature that you see here with the name, a cost, the cost is usually the same. So there's a regular creature with the 9 cost that has no title, no effects, with the different stats. Because the great creatures, their stats vary depending on the great creature, depend on the great creature. So a regular creature, let's say a regular creature like this, a regular creature version of this is the same. So it has the stats of 3, 3, or 3. I think that's how it is. No, it's 3, 3, 4. Because yep, the only thing that increased on this great creature is the stats. This stat increased by 1. So the regular creature version of this card has the stats of 3, 3, and 4. 3, 3, and 4. And that regular creature has multiple different great creatures. So let me look for it here. There's Battle Brave, Battle Brave. I guess that works. Oops. Did I mix this up? Nope, I did not. This belongs here. So you see, this is the different great creature, Vigilant, with the stats of 4, 2, and 2, 2 and 3. 4 attack points. See, 4 attack points, 2 defense points, and 3 health points. Then there's the Battle Brave version of the same great creature. You see, it's the same card, the same type, the same name. Honored Squire, Honored Squire. 8 cost, 8 cost. But the stats are different. You see the stats? This one has 5 attack points, 2 defense points, and 3 health points. Because the attack points of this one it's also increased by 1 compared to this, as similar to this one with the stats increased by 1. This one has its base stats, meaning the regular creature version of this has 4 attack points, 2 defense points, and 3 health points. But its effect is different. Let's see it again. You can see the effect of this one is Resolute. Resolute, this creature gains +1, +1, +1 attack points, +1 defense points, +1 health points during your opponent's turns until the end of those turns. So its effect already gives it stats. That's why its stats are not increased here, because it already has stats increased here. For this, that's only particular to this creature. I didn't want to increase the stats here because the stats already being increased here. So that's the difference between. That's how you can see that there are different great creatures for a single regular creature. Honored Squire, no, without a title, without any effects, and basic stats. So when a creature attacks, anything can block it. Creatures cannot attack other creatures, like I stated before. Oops. I haven't at least close. Creatures cannot attack other creatures. Creatures can only attack opponent players or leaders that are on the side of the opponent players, on the side of their battlefield. On their side of the battlefield, sorry, on their side of the battlefield. Because every player shares the same battlefield. But each player has their own side. So this is my side, that's your opponent's side, and cards on that side can be targeted when when effects say target an opponent player's a card on an opponent player's side of the battlefield, or a card that an opponent player owns, or enemy cards, things like that. You can target cards on that side. This side is our cards that you own. They're on your side of the battlefield. So that's pretty much just the basics of the game. Players start the game at the beginning of the game. Let me clear this off real quick. So these are token creatures. You only need these creatures when effects require them. And they have the same, they have stats. Some effects require 001 token right creature with a crystal cost of 1. These are just, generic creatures that you can buy if you don't want to create your own. Players can create their own great creatures by pretty much just writing the stats, the name of the creature, the stats of the creature, whatever effects the creature has. So players can pretty much write the name of the creature, name, stats 001, and then cut it up. You cut up the card and you just place it, and it's crystal cost. I forgot about that. So you need the name, the card. It's a base stat. I mean, it's subtypes. So this is a token creature. So every token card must have the token as its subtype. So this is a rat creature, but since it's a token card, it'll be a token rat creature. If there's a token domain, like this domain which says wood, it'll be a token wood domain. This one says water, it'll be a token water domain. So that's pretty much how it works, how token cards work. You don't really need to have a physical card for that token. You can just create it out of anything you want. So I start off the game. Players start the game by shuffling pretty much just you pick the cards you want to put in your deck. There has to be a minimum of 40 cards in a deck. So each deck must have a minimum of 40 cards. There are no maximum. You can have 100 cards in your deck, 200 cards in your deck, 500, 600. It's up to you. So both players, or however many players that you want, are playing the game, shuffles their deck. Let me make sure that all cards are here. Okay. The player shuffles that deck. But first, they take out the domains. You choose whatever domain you want to start the game with. Players can start the game with one domain, one basic domain. Sorry, not just any domain. There are basic domains and then there are advanced domains. Basic domains do not have a cost. See, there are no costs here. This is also explained in the instructions of the game, and it's pretty simple. Basic domains do not have a cost. They do not have any effects. So if you don't see any effects here, usually in the game, cards that do not have any crystal costs or effects, or cards that do not except creatures, cards that do not have any effects or costs are basic cards. So this has no effects, does not have a crystal cost on the right side. So this is a basic card. And there's a difference between regular creatures are also basic cards. And advanced cards, like I showed you before, are cards that have a common that looks like that. A rare, this is how they look, the color scheme. Brown, light blue, blue, and yellow or golden. So for this card, this Battle Brave creature, there's a common version of it, a rare version of it, a unique version of it, and a brilliant version of it. You can use any. You can same with every. This card also has the same amount. They're all advanced cards. This card also has a common, a rare, unique, or brilliant version. This card also has a common, rare, unique, or brilliant version. And every card here has a common, rare, unique, or brilliant version. And they're all advanced cards. You can make your deck with any you can only have 2 copies of a card with the same name in your deck. But those 3 copies could be common, rare, unique, or brilliant. You can have 3 of these, one of these, one of these, and one of these in your deck. 2 of these in your deck and one of these in your deck. Like two unique cards, unique copies of this, and one rare copy of it. Or you can have all brilliant copies of this card in your deck. It's up to you however you want to make your deck. So it gives you more freedom of how you want your deck to be, what choices you want to make, and that's pretty much one of the best part of this game is it gives you so many choices, so many options to literally make your deck however you want it to be, as unique as you want it to be. Every card you see, most of these cards are advanced cards, so that means most of these cards there are 4 different copies that you can choose. Most cards in the game actually are advanced cards. There are very few basic cards because it's best to have as many options as possible. So there are very few basic cards in the game. So at the start of the game, you choose a basic domain compared to an advanced domain. There are advanced domains as well, like obviously, like it implies. So you choose a basic domain of your choice. This deck goes with this domain. So I prefer having this domain for this deck. So there's a wood domain here, and the decks are placed on your left hand side to make it easier to grab. Your mortuary means cards that are out of the battlefield that die, or removed from the battlefield, or discarded from your hand go into your mortuary. So at the start of the game, each player shuffles places the basic domain on the board of their choosing, and then shuffles their deck. Sorry about that. So I think this is. Let me do it I prefer shuffling it this way, where you pretty much just you pick the top, you take from the top and the bottom, place it down, take from the top and bottom, place it down, take from the top and bottom. That's pretty much how I shuffle my deck. And I actually shuffle some. Actually, I put some on top, put some on the bottom, put some on top, put some on the bottom, take 2 from the top and bottom. So this makes it very shuffled, I like to think. There we go. So there we go. Oops. Now time to shuffle this one. I think I've already shuffled it again. Shuffled it, but I'll just shuffle it again. I'm testing out the hero of this deck, that I showed you earlier, just to see how it plays. I'll show you again once I draw the hero during the game. Okay. Each player draws 9 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can see this deck has a advanced domain. See that color? That's a rare advanced domain, but it has no basic. I mean, not domain. Sorry, crystal. This is an advanced crystal, but it has no basic crystals in it. So this is obviously a bad hand because you need crystals to play cards that have a crystal cost. This has a crystal cost of 3. So I need at least 3 basic crystals to play this card. This is also a crystal. So but it requires crystals to play this. It requires crystals already on the board to play it because it's an advanced crystal. You can't just play it on the board. So I drew 9 cards, but I didn't get what I wanted. So I have to shuffle my deck again. And so I already shuffled it the first time. I'm not gonna shuffle it as hard as, as thorough as I did it before. So now I draw 8 cards this time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I like this hand. I have 1 basic crystal. See how it has, and this is an aura crystal. You see the aura crystal. An aura crystal has an aura crystal cost, associated with it. So to play this card that has 10 green crystals, see that green behind that number 10? That means that it requires at least 10 aura crystals on the board before you can play it. So you have to tap, and you need to tap crystals, the required number of crystals to play this card. So you need to tap 10 crystals to play this card. And you usually only tap the required crystal. You can't tap more unless it's an advanced card like this. This advanced card represents 2 basic crystals. So it costs one aura crystal to play, but it represents 2 basic crystals. So when you tap this, it's like you're tapping 2 of these basic crystals instead of just 1. And if it didn't have this effect, if it was just a cost and a blank card like this, it represents 1 aura crystal. So each card without an effect, each crystal without an effect represents 1 crystal of its crystal card type. So this the card type of this crystal is aura. So this is an aura crystal. While this one is a metro crystal. So this is a metro crystal, and this one represents 3. So you can see the 3 right there. It produces 3 metro crystals that you may use. So this represents 3 crystals. When you tap this, you get 3 crystals. You tap this, you get 2 crystals. Now if I have all 3 of these on the board, that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 crystals out of this 10. And how that works is metro crystals can be played. You can tap metro crystals as if it's the required crystal. So every metro crystal can be used to play any card in the game that requires any crystal cost. So that's the difference. So this one's like a universal card, a universal crystal that can be used to play any card, while these are more specific. And crystals are played behind the domain as well. Crystals are played behind the domain. There's only 1 hero position, but crystals can be everywhere. You can have crystals here, you can play crystals anywhere, but right behind the domain, only a hero can be played. And I like this hand. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll keep it. Then I'll start with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let's check it out. You see this one has a bunch of crystals, and these are mana crystals. You see there's a difference. Mana crystals are connected to mana crystal costs. So blue crystal, mana crystal, a blue crystal, mana crystal. This has the 2 mana crystal cost. So it requires 2 mana crystals, or at least 2 metro crystals to play it. And see this is the unique version of the crystal I showed you previously. the same card, but a unique version of it. So this represents 4 instead of 3. Oops. Sticky arms. There we go. I like this hand as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'll keep it. So both domains are on the board. Both players like their hands. I like this hand. I like this hand. And then usually it's random to choose who goes first. It's random. If this goes here, this is how I usually choose it. I usually flip a coin, but I don't have any coins on me right now. So I just do this. If it falls this way, naturally this side goes first. Usually falls that way for some reason, probably because of the tilt of the table. So that side goes first. And then at the start of during the player's turn, there's the beginning phase where a player untaps every card on their board. On their side, every tapped card gets untapped at the start of the player's turn. So this player gets a turn, this player gets a turn. When this player's turns end, the next player gets a turn. So it just goes around in a circle. So how I'll do this is, it starts off with the turn. The first player that started the game doesn't get to draw a card, but usually at the start of a player's turn, well, at the start of the first player during a game between two players do not get to draw a card. But if there are multiple players, then it really doesn't matter. Each player draws a card at the start of their turn. So at the start of this turn, since this one goes first, it doesn't get to draw a card during that turn. So then it goes to a different phase. So like there are multiple phases within a player's turn. There's the beginning phase where the player untaps things. There's a phase after that. There's like a mini phase after that called the rift stage, where effects occur. Certain effects can occur between rift stages, and there's a phase after that called the draw stage, where players draw a card. Then there's another rift stage after that, and then there's the main phase, where players can play cards. So players can only play one domain. It doesn't matter whether it's basic or it's advanced. Players can only play one domain. Sorry about that. One crystal. Players can only play one crystal on their side of the board during their turn, each of their turns, unless effects tell them to play more cards, play more crystals. So unless an effect that says, just like this hero has that effect. This hero has the effects at the end of your turns, summon, which means play it without paying its crystal cost. That's what summon means. Summon a token copy of a crystal on the battlefield with a crystal cost of 3 or lower. So any crystal on the battlefield, on my side, your side, opponent's side, my side, it doesn't really matter as long as it's on the battlefield, and it has a crystal cost of 3 or lower. It doesn't matter if it's a metro crystal cost, a mana crystal cost, or any other crystal cost in between. As long as it has as long as the maximum cost is 3 or lower, I can summon a token copy of it to my side of the board. This effect overrides the rule that says you can only play one crystal on your side on your board, but that only overrides it if this effect occurs after you play a crystal. If you summon a crystal, or an effect tells you to play a crystal before you play a crystal, you won't be able to play a crystal anymore. But if you play a crystal before an effect tells you to play a crystal, you'll be able to continuously play more crystals. So that's how it works. So this one starts. I place a mana crystal on the board. I have nothing else to play. And this card says it's This is a different great creature. It doesn't have the effects that lets you show your opponent, that lets you show the card to your opponent in order to get the discounts reduction of the crystal cost. So I played one crystal. I have nothing else to play. I can just end my turn there. And at the end of the player's turn, they must have a maximum of 9 cards in their hands. If they have more than 9 cards, they have to discard their hands until they have 9 cards left. So this one's done. I usually use these to make it easier for me to grab. Then my turn, I draw a card. And also I forgot to mention, players start the game with the stat points of 0, 0, 1. So you should probably write that down. I mean, sorry, not 0, 0, 1. 0, 0, 2, 7, 27. So 0 attack points, 0 defense points, 27 health points. So it should be written down like this: 0 attack points, 0 defense points, 27 health points. And when cards attack you or they deal damage to you, you deduct the attack points of the cards from your health points. That's much. When your health points goes to 0, you lose the game. When you're required to draw cards and you have no cards left in your deck, you also lose the game. So I've drawn a card. Now I have 10 cards in my hand. I play a crystal. Now I'm back to 9. I have nothing else to play. I just have to call it a day. That's it. And then this one's turn. And usually you can also just write down 27 as your health points and not put the stats like the 0, 0, 0, you know, /0//27. You can just put 27 down if you have nothing that gives you stats. If you have something that gives you stats, it's best to write, you just have to keep note of what stats you have during the game. And then this one, there's really nothing here to play, so I just play crystal again, and then end my turn. I draw a card here. This time, this one has a crystal cost of 1. An aura crystal cost of 1. I have an aura crystal. I tap this to play this. This one also enters the battlefield in a tapped orientation, so they're both tapped. It states it on the. It states it that it has that it enters the battlefield in a tapped orientation. If it doesn't clarify whether it enters the battlefield in a tapped or untapped orientation, cards always, if it's not stated otherwise, they always enter the battlefield in an untapped orientation. So this is untapped, this is tapped. So I have nothing else to play. And then that's it. Draw a card. I play one more crystal. Now I have 3 crystals. Now I have another battle brave. Well, the first battle brave. So I show this to all players. I show it to all players. And then I reduce its crystal cost 6 to 5 during that same turn. And I have nothing else to play. I end that turn. And then now it's my turn. That 5 crystal cost is now 4. And I draw a card. I get a hero again. And now I have 3 crystals. This represents 2. This is 1. So I tap these 3 to play this. And this also enters the battlefield in a tapped orientation. So that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards in my hand. This one probably still has, I think, 9 cards. Now it's this one's turn, and this is reduced to 3. So I can play right now. Tap 3 to play, and this is a metro crystal cost. So this is also universal cost. So you can use any crystals. You can use a mana crystal to play this. See the red? So that red crystal indicates that it's a metro crystal cost card versus a metro crystal. Metro crystal can be used to play any card with any crystal cost. A metro crystal cost can be played using any crystals. So this has 6 metro crystals, has a 3 metro crystal cost right now. So I can play right now, or I can play a bigger crystal to allow me to play more cards during the following turns. And I think I prefer playing I have nothing else to play afterwards anyways. So I can start attacking now, which is probably a good idea. Yeah, I think I'll do that. No, I can't. So either I start attacking now, and then wait one more turn before I can actually play bigger cards, or I'll just wait one more turn. I tap this to play that. Then I wait one more turn, and then this one goes down to 2. So during this player's next turn, it'll be a 1-cost card, so it'll be much cheaper to play. And then now I have 6 crystals, overall crystals, that I can use to play a card with 6 crystals, with the 6 crystal cost or lower, which is this hero. That's what I'm going to play now. I can also play this creature, which isn't going to be very useful against Battle Brave, great creatures. So I tap this to play this hero. And it also has this effect. It says secret when your opponents first discards a card during their turn. So while this card is on the board, right? This creature is on the board. This hero is on the board. The first time any opponent during their turn discards a card from their hand or from the battlefield, how secrets work is there are a bunch of secret effects to choose from. For every secret, you can choose one effect. And the effect increases. You can increase the effects of that effect by 1 each time this their statements, their clauses are met. So the first time an opponent discards a card during their turn, I can give that effect plus 1 effect. That means I can increase its effect by 1, or I can increase the damage of that effect by 1. So let's say if an effect says, let's say if I choose the effect to this secret that says deal 1 damage to an opponent player, when this clause is reached, I can increase that effect to plus 1 effect or plus 1 damage. If I increase it by plus 1 damage, it'll deal 1 damage to 1 opponent player. If I increase that effect to plus 1 by plus 1 effect, it'll deal one damage to up to 2 opponent players. So you get to choose 2 different opponent players. So that's where effect and damage comes in. If you choose to go the effect route, you usually increase the targets that you can target for that effect. If you choose the damage route, you can only increase the damage dealt, and plus 1 damage only applies to effects that says deal damage. So if the effect doesn't say deal damage, but it has numbers associated with it, then only effects work for it. So deal one damage to an opponent player, and opponent player, the and indicates 1. So when it gains plus 1 effects, now it's 2 opponent players. While the deal 1 damage, it says deal 1 damage. So only the damage part. Only it doesn't increase when you increase the effect because it doesn't apply. The effect doesn't apply to it. So that's how the secret works. The secret pretty much just gives you more freedom of what choices you want to make. So while this card is on the board, I can choose any secret that I want. There's a list of secrets. And for this one, I'll choose the secret that says summon, which means play it for free. A one crystal cost, or let's just say 0 crystal cost, 0, 0, 0, Squire. Squire, that's the name. Token human creature. So that's the effect that I chose for this secret. So every time you play a card with a secret, you choose one effect for each secret that that card has. If there are multiple secrets with different clauses, then you choose multiple effects for those secrets. And since your opponents do not know what secret you chose, that's why it's a secret. So you don't really have to choose a secret until you want to trigger that effect of that secret. And once you trigger the effect of a secret, if you can no longer trigger that effect of a secret again. So it's a one-off effect. So as long as you haven't triggered that effect, you can get every time this clause happens, you can give it +1 effect, +1 effect increase, or +1 damage increase. But once you trigger that secret, that means to trigger this, you just have to say that you want to trigger the secret. You can trigger the secret anytime during the game. So I can trigger this summon 001 or 000 Squire token human creature. I'm still working on the secret because secrets come with the Knights of Tempest expansion. So I'm still working on creating what type of secrets I want because I don't want them to be too powerful right from the beginning. They're supposed to be weak, and then each time the clauses are met, they become stronger and stronger and stronger until you can pretty much just win the game from them. So that's pretty much how the secret works. So let's go back to the game. I chose a secret, summon a 001 Squire token human creature. That's the secret that I chose. And see, it says this is where the token cards come in. So when I say summon a 001 Squire token human creature, I'm gonna summon a creature like this with the name Squire right here instead of Seedling, because there are effects that summon Seedling. Summons when an effect says summon a 011 Seedling token right creature with a crystal cost of 2, you summon a card that looks just like this. 2 crystal cost, a 2 crystal cost Seedling token right creature with a stats of 0 attack points, 1 defense points, 1 health points. So that's the secret that I chose for this hero. And then this hero states that at the end of my turns, I summon a token copy of a crystal on the battlefield with the crystal cost of 3 or lower. So I'll take this as a representation of this crystal. So I choose this crystal. So I have a unique crystal, an XX unique, another unique card on my board. You can only have on your side of a player can only have 17 common cards on this side of the board, 8 rare cards on the side of the board maximum, 4 unique cards, and 2 brilliant cards maximum on this side of the board. So if I already have this card on my board, if I want to play this, I can play it. If I want to play this, well, you can only have one domain on your board anyway, so you have to remove one. So it really doesn't matter. It doesn't apply here. So if I had another creature like this, and I play it, sorry, before I can play it, I mean after I play it, before I can place it on the board and the effect can trigger or can occur, I have to remove one of these to make it 2 again. So the limit is 2. This one is 4, this one is 8, and this one is 16. I mean 17, sorry. So now I have two left, two left of unique cards that I can play. That's what limits the cards. That way you don't have a deck filled with brilliant cards, the most powerful versions of each card. Because the brilliants are the most powerful version of the card. You don't want to have the whole board just play with brilliant cards because there'll be no point for the other cards at all. So the benefits of common cards is that even though they're weaker, you have a larger limit. You have a larger limit of how many you can play on your board. So I think the common cards can be actually the most powerful cards as well. Depending on how you want to play it, how you make your card. I mean, how you make your deck. But that's pretty much just how it works. So this hero summons me a copy of this, and I have a copy of this on my board, and that's it. That's at the end of my turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cards left in my hand. And this one goes down to 1. This Battle Brave now is a 1 cost. I draw a card. I untap all the. Well, you only untap you untap first before you draw a card, but it really doesn't really matter too much. Now I have 4, 5, 6, 7 crystals that I can use to play cards. This costs 8. I can play a crystal this turn. So I'm just gonna play this crystal. So I tap 1 to play this. I can just tap it to play, move it over here. And then I can play this. I tap 1 to play that as well. And this can attack the same turn. So move this back. There we go. And then I also tap. Do I want to do that? Yeah, well. So I tap 2 to play Melody of Wind. Oops. Which states give a creature. I think it's even harder to see here. It says give a creature or leader you control. So on your side of the battlefield, it's a spell. So you play it, it does what it states it does, it wants to do. Then you move it to your mortuary. That's what a spell. That's pretty much the mechanic of a spell. It doesn't stay. It doesn't stay on the board forever like creatures. Creatures stay on the board pretty much forever. Once you play it, it just stays. Domains are the same. Crystals are the same. Heroes are the same. Spells are not. So they're temporary cards that you just play them. You activate the effects of the card. Once the stated effects occur, you move it to the mortuary. So this effect says give a creature or leader you control quick strike. So quick strike means if these two attack, the creature with quick strike deals its attack damage first before a creature without quick strike. So that's pretty much how it works. So give a creature quick strike, and then I have a water domain here. So I have to choose a water option. So it has water. So it says water or wind. Wind or water. Since it says entry 1, means you can only choose one of these 2 effects. And the effects, this is where the domain comes in. If you have a water domain on the board, you can only choose the water effect. If you have a wind domain on the board, you can only choose the wind effect. If you have a water, wind, or lightning domain on the board, you can choose any of the effects. If you have a wind and water domain on the board, you can choose any of the effects, but you can only choose one. That's pretty much just how it works. So I play this card. I choose the water effect, which says the target gains +2 attack points until the end of this turn, until the end of turn. So I give it +2 attack points, and then this one goes to the mortuary. So it now has quick, destined, formidable, and quick strike, because the quick strike doesn't end. But the attack points that it gains end because it states that it ends. So it gains +2 attack points and it attacks. Now, this player's 27 health is reduced by 6 to 21. And that's it. Nothing else to do for this deck. So I'll draw a card. And now I have 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 cards. 10 crystals that I can use to play cards. So I can do this instead. Let me see if that works. I'll play an extra crystal. Now I have 11 for this turn. Then I tap 5. Let me see if I can do this, if that works. And I played this card. It says, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You may play any number of them during the current stage. So the current stage is the stage that I'm playing cards. So like I said, I called it phased before, but it's actually the stage. So this stage is the stage that I'm playing cards. Once I finish playing cards, it comes to the attack stage where players attack and defend. Cards attack. Then after cards finish attacking, damage is dealt. Then it comes to the end phase where you can play cards again. So I skipped it because I've already played the cards that I wanted to play before. So there's a stage where you can play cards. The turn starts. You untap everything you want to tap that needs to be untapped. You draw a card. You play cards. You attack with creatures and leaders. You play cards again. You end your turn. And that's pretty much the 4 major stages. It's pretty simple. So I tap 5 to play this. Then I look at the top 7 cards. When it says look, you're not really taking the cards from the top of your deck, so you have to put them exactly the way you looked at them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are the 7 cards in my deck. That sucks. And all of them have a high cost except this one. So I may play any of these cards this turn. So I have 4, 5, 6 mana left. 6 crystals left to play cards. So I'll just play this creature, play this creature. So that's 4. And since there's nothing else for me to play, let me check my deck. Let me check my hand. Okay, so I can do that as well. I'll play this. I'll tap this to play this. So it gives the creature +1 attack points permanently. So an effect is permanent unless it states that it is not. So this attack point effect that it gives to this creature is permanent. So this creature gains +1 attack points, +4 attack points. Now its attack points is 5. I'll write that down. And that's all I want to do for this one. So this is my hand. This is the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards in my deck now. I play this again. So when you play a domain, an advanced domains, always replace the advanced domain that's already on top, on your deck. On the board. It doesn't replace the basic domain though. An advanced domain is placed on top of the basic domain, but other advanced domains played replace the advanced domain that's already on top. So I replace this one to play this one again, and I give this one +4 attack. So these two have 5 attack points now. And I place it right back exactly in the order that I picked it up from. And as you can see, this is also a vigilant gray creature. This is a 2-cost neophyte squire, and it has the exact same effect as the previous one. Resolute, which means that when this creature attacks, you don't need to tap it. So it can still block during an opponent player's turn. That's what Resolute just simply means. And it gains +1 attack points, +2 defense points, and +1 health points during your opponent's turns until the end of those turns. So those tap points are removed at the end of your opponent's turns. So that's all I'm gonna play. That's all I have to play. And then if this hero's effect comes to the play again, I make another copy of this. So now I have 3 unique cards on my side of the board. Now it's this one's turn. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't really have that many good cards in my hand. So I'll just tap these 3 to play this. And then next turn, I may have to discard. I may have to play this card, but I don't want to play it right now. Oops. So these are untapped. So I have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, so I only needed one more card before I can, one more crystal if I can play this card. But I do not. This is, since it has formidable, it can still attack and nothing can block it because there's only 2 instead of 3 here. So attacks again. And now instead of dealing 6 like it did last time, it's gonna deal 4 because that 2 extra is removed now. So -4. So my 21 health now is being reduced by 4 again. Now it's at 17 health. Now I'm at 17 health. So this is why this deck is very powerful because of this card. So now it's my turn. I untap everything I have. You can see how I'm using these face down cards as placeholders. It's just simpler when you're dealing with token cards. This game requires some of the heroes require a lot of token cards. If you don't want, as long as you know what they are, you don't really have to create. You don't have to do all that. It's best for you to actually note them down. What this card indicates, what this card indicates on a piece of paper, but you don't really have to have a physical copy with those stats. Those stats or effects on the board. You can just have a placeholder for it. That saves a lot of time during the game. Well, you can also just buy the token, the token card version. If you know what deck you're playing, there's always a token. When it comes to creatures, there's always a token version that you can buy on the store, on the website of the game, of the official website of the game. There's always a token version that you can buy for that deck. If for every effect that requires a token card, there's a token creature already created I can buy for it. So this card, I start this card. I mean this turn, I've already attacked, nothing else to do. So I draw a card. I'll tap on my crystals. Now I have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 crystals. This is why I love heroes, because they have very powerful effects. They're always very useful. And that's pretty much how I wanted the heroes to be. So I draw a card, and let's talk about an effect that usually players can choose to do or not. At the start of your turns, anytime you can draw a card at the start of your turn. So I draw this card. You can choose to overload. So that means you can draw up to 9 cards for the entire game. You can draw up to 9 cards. But for each card you draw, your following turns, you won't be able to draw a card at the start of your turn. So after drawing my first card, if I draw another card, my next turn I won't be able to draw a card. If I draw another card, again, my following 2 turns I won't be able to draw a card. So so you're overloading. You're drawing cards that you're supposed to draw in the future right now, your future turns right now, and you can only do that until you've drawn a maximum of 9 cards. So I'm gonna draw cards since I don't only have the cards that I want in my hand. I'm just gonna draw a few more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm just gonna draw all the 9 cards that I could possibly draw. You can only draw a maximum of 9 cards in the entire during an entire game through this effect. So I'll note that down that I've drew 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That means on my following 9 turns, I won't be able to draw a card at the start of my turns. So now my hand is full of cards. And I have 8, 12, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 cards in my hand. I guess I didn't have to do all that. Could have done something else. I think I'll do that instead. Oops, I guess I didn't have to do that at all. Well, that sucks. So I didn't need to do that at all because I was actually looking for a cheaper version of this card. This card pretty much lets you summon a bunch of 001 token right creatures. Each time you play this card, when this card enters the battlefield, you can choose to summon a 001 immediately after this card enters the battlefield. You can choose to summon a 001 ceiling token right creature and then move this card back into your hand. But I don't want the 3 cost version. I want the 1 cost version. But I couldn't get it. So the 1 cost version of this card is still, this great creature is still in the deck. That was what I was looking for. But that's fine as well. So, well, I can do that as this as well. 6. Swarm's Devastation. Swarm's Devastation. This is 16. This is 16 cost. I don't remember if I played a crystal this turn or not. I don't think I did. Because I didn't have a crystal in my hand before. Okay. So I play a crystal. Now I have 16. And I'll just play this card. This is a formation diagram instead of a formation spell. Formation is the card type. Diagram is the subtype. The subtypes always appear on the bottom of a card. The card type appears at the top of the card, except for crystals. Crystals are a bit different. The card type is a metro. I guess it works the same. It's a crystal card, so I guess the card type and the subtype are pretty much the same to a certain extent, but it's kind of different because a metro crystal card is different from an aura crystal. I mean, from an aura crystal card and a mana crystal card. So that's the difference. So they're all crystals, so they all have the subtype of crystal, but the card type is actually metro. So I guess it's kind of confusing, but it makes it different. It makes it different. So I have 16 cards, 16 crystals. and this costs 16 aura crystals. And you see it says latent. Latent simply means that at the top right here, latent simply means that when you play this card, you play it face down so that your opponents and other players can't see it. At least your opponents can't see it. You just play face down, and then you just have to guess what they'll have to guess what you've played. But usually you can usually know from the crystal costs, unless there are also multiple cards with the same crystal cost that also have latent on it. So that's pretty much just to make the players guess what cards you've played. And when that effect triggers, so there's an effect this effect states the first time a creature die on your control, so on your side of the battlefield. So when the first time a creature you control dies during an opponent player's turn, give all players you control +3 attack, +3 health points. So all the creatures will gain +3 health points if any creature on my side dies. And then once that occurs, you get to choose one of these effects, or you choose one of these effects first. Once the primary effects has been the condition of the primary effects has been met, you can decide what order they go, what order the primary or the secondary effects go. So when the first time a creature you control dies during an opponent's player's turn, before you give all creatures you control +3 health points, you can decide to do that first, or you can decide to choose one of the secondary effects, which has a wood domain requirement and a light domain requirement. This domain is lightning and light. You see, lightning and light. So since it has only light, I can only choose the light domain requirement instead of the wood domain requirement on this See, it says wood or light in the top left. So I can only choose the light domain, which says when this diagram triggers, the target creatures gain +3 defense points until the end of the turn. So when this diagram triggers, all the creatures that I give +3 health points also gain +3 defense points until the end of the turn. So those defense points end at the end of the turn. So I play this first. And I have nothing else to play. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 cards in my hand. So I have to discard 5 cards from my hand before the next player's turn, since I have nothing else to play. So I want this. I guess I'll take this as well. I'll discard 1. I'll discard 2. I'll discard 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11. So I need 2 more. So I'll discard this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll discard that one. Hmm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have to discard one more card. I can discard this crystal. I'll discard this crystal. I don't need to. I already have a crystal factory right here. I don't really need any more crystals. And you see, I have no more unique. I don't have that many unique cards in my hand. I mean, in my hand or in this deck. So I can safely, at the end of my turn, summon another unique crystal. So the maximum unique cards on my side of the board has been met, unless this is a unique card. But no one knows that. When it triggers, I'll have to get rid of one of these. So I guess nope. I guess I'll go with the Metro, the rare version of it then. So I have 3 unique cards, 2 Metro rare cards, four rare cards. Sorry, four rare cards, one brilliant card, and one common card, and that's it. I'm down to 17 health, but I'm slowly. This deck is slowly turning things around. Oh yeah, I forgot to attack. Let's just say attack. This deals 5. This deals 5. So this player's 27 health is reduced by 10. Now it's 17, just like me. So at the start of the turn, I'll tap all these. I'll draw a card. I finally get a Battle Brave. But now it's costing too much for me to keep it. Because really, what I really wanted to do is play this card that costs 8. Then play this card that costs 2. That states discard your hand, then draw 9 cards. So I can just discard all these cards and just draw 9 cards out of it. But now I'm getting too good. Now I just got a good card. Now I'm deciding whether I should overload, draw more cards until I get all the cards that I want, and then get rid of these at the end of the turn, or I just keep this hand and just see what happens with it. Okay, I'll keep this hand and see what happens with it. So I'll tap my cards. So I have 6, 10, 14. So this is 3, 3, 6 plus 4, that's 10. Then 4 more, that's 14. And I have a vigilant version of, you see how this is the common vigilant? This is the rare vigilant. This one also has a rare vigilant as well. But this deck is using the common version. This deck is using the rare version. So I tap 8 to play that. Now I have 6 left. I just put a crystal down because I haven't put one down yet. I have 7 left. I exposed this card, so now it's down to 8. So I'm just one crystal off from playing it. I attack again. Deals 4 damage, minus 17, minus 4. 13. Now it's my turn. Oh, this player's turn. Draw a card. Oops, forgot to untap. Untap. Draw a card. Oh yeah, I can't draw a card, sorry. Oops. So I'll put it back. I have so many things, I'm paying attention to. It's hard to keep up. So since I overloaded 9 last turn, so for the next 9 turns, I won't be able to draw a card at the start of my turn. So these cards in my hand are the only cards I'll have for 9 full turns from now on, unless I have an effects that draw me cards, which I really don't in my hand. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So now I have 19 crystals to play cards with. This is not good. 19 crystals to play cards with. This is 5, 5, so nope, it doesn't die. I guess I can do that. I'll tap, or maybe not. I'll just play these cards then. So this altogether is 8. So I'll tap 8. So don't forget these two cards, these two token placeholders represent these two. So tap 8 to play this. So now I have these two have 5 attack points. These are just basic cards. I mean, they're just cards without attack, the basic stats. And what do I have left? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I have 11. Did I place the crystal down? I don't think I did. So I have 12. And this one goes down to 7. Oops. So I'll play Unceasing Gluttony, which states devour a card on the battlefield with a crystal cost of 6 or lower. When this diagram enters the battlefield, this diagram is different from this diagram. This diagram, as you can see, has a D1, D2, turn end. That means after I play it, it stays on my side. It stays on the battlefield. On which player side? It stays on the battlefield, my side of the battlefield, for 2 turns before it ends at the end, at turn end of the last turn that is stated to end. So I play this turn. It goes down by 1 next turn. So it has 1 turn left. And then at the end of that turn, so this is the turn I played it. So this is 1 turn. And then it goes down back to my turn again. After this player's turn, it goes to my turn again, goes down by 1. So it has 1 turn left, which is the current turn. At the end of that turn, since it states turn end, I'll have to remove it from the battlefield and place it in my mortuary. So I play this card. When this diagram enters the battlefield under your control, when this diagram enters the battlefield under your control, I know you guys can barely see it. I'll just state it. I'll just state it. When this diagram enters the battlefield under your control, so this is my side. If it enters the battlefield under another player's control, that's their side. Devour a card on the battlefield with a crystal cost of 6 or lower. So that means kill a card on the battlefield. That means just remove it from the battlefield. This card has a crystal cost of 6 or lower. And since it's saying a card with a crystal cost, that means I can't target any of these things, any of these basic cards, because they do not have crystal costs. This has a crystal cost of 6, so I can target this one. This has a crystal cost of 1, I can target this one. 3, I can target that one. I can't target this one. I can target cards on my side as well, since it says on the battlefield, period. So it can be any card on the battlefield. This is not on the battlefield. This is in the mortuary. So I'm deciding to take this one out. And when you devour a card, you kill it, so you just remove it from the battlefield. And usually cards that you kill, you place them in your mortuary. So once you remove them from the battlefield, you place them in your mortuary. But this devour effect states that you remove it from the game, or I forgot what the exact effect states. Or you place, I think either you move it from the game, or you place it under the card that devours it. Onto the card that devours it, leaves the battlefield, and then this goes into the mortuary pile of its player. So I devour this card, and this states that it stays on the battlefield for 2 turns until the end of the last turn. And then I choose the effects, the wood or light effect. I choose light since I have a light domain. When an effect under your control first devours a card during your turn, the next creature you play that turn costs up to 1 crystal less to play. So I choose 1. It costs up to, it could be 0. So the next creature I play this turn, this costs 9, right? Yeah, it costs 9. So that's 8. This is 9. So I devour this one. And then if I decide to play this creature, that's a 3 cost. it's not been reduced to 2. So I can play for 2 the first time I play. If I play it again, it'll be a 3 cost again. If I play any further creatures, it'll be a 6 cost. I mean a 3 cost, sorry. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 left. Or not. I think I played this turn, right? Yep, I did. So that's 8 for this. And then 9, 3, 6, 9. I have 3 left to play. I play 2. Then I summon a 001. This is not only a 001. This is a 001 seedling. So I summon a 001 seedling token right creature. I have 1 untapped aura crystal left that I can use to play cards. I take this card back. This effect says play 001. Then if you do, you can take this card back into your hand so you can play it again. I have nothing else to play. This has a 15 cost, 3 cost, 10 cost, 9 cost, another 15. So, and during an opponent player's turn, right? Yep. So this only works during an opponent player's turn. If I attack this turn, I won't really gain anything from it. But I don't need to attack right now because I have this card that states, at the start of your turn, you may destroy a token creature you control. If you do, creatures you control gain +4/+4, so +4 attack points, +4 defense points, and +4 health points until the end of turn. So this is like a finisher card that I can use to just win the game. Swarm's Devastation. So I don't really need to attack because I know I can pretty much win the game in 1 turn just playing this card. So I'm trying to stabilize. I only have 13 health left. So it's this player's turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this player didn't do any overload last turn. So I draw a card. And this one's crystal cost goes down by another 1. So it's not a 6 cost instead of an 8. Instead of a 9. So I can play all these cards this turn and then discard my hand. So I play this. I tap 6 cards. 6 crystals. Oops. 4, 5, 6 to play this. So after I play it, it goes back to a 9 cost. While in my hand, it was a 6 cost because it went down, but every time it changes from one zone to the next. A hand is a zone. The battlefield is a zone. The mortuary is a zone. Your deck is a zone as well. Every time a card moves from one zone to the next, it's any effects it gains in that zone resets to the effects it states that is stated on the card itself. So when this used to be, it was a 6 cost in my hand. If an opponent, while it was in my hand, if an opponent player had a card that says add a 6 cost card from another opponent player's hand to your hand, you can take it from my hand because it was a 6 cost in this hand. But now that I've played it, it's gone from my hand to the battlefield. Now it's back to a 9 cost. And now that's 6. I have this card called Call to Win. It states deal 2 damage to a creature with a crystal cost of 2 or more. So I'll deal 2 damage, it costs 1, I tap 1 to play it. Deal 2 damage to a creature with a crystal cost of 6 or more, 4 or more. This has a crystal cost of 6, so that's 4 or more. And then So it's added plus 2 defense points has been deducted. I'll deduct it from its stats. So you're dealing damage to it. You deduct the damage dealt from the stats of the creature. Stats on when damage is dealt to a creature, it's first removed from the that's only when it's dealt. There are two different types of damages. There are damage dealt, and then there are effects that give stats. So just to show you a difference, this game is pretty. Once you get to know it, it's not really as complicated as I guess it probably still is. But that's pretty much why it's so fun because you have so many options. A game that gives you options, a lot of options, is always going to be a complicated game to a certain extent. So you deal 2 damage. See, this deal damage is different from this effects that gives -3 health points. Don't know if you can see it well. So the bottom one that says water, the water choice says give a creature +2, +2 attack points, -3 health, -3 defense points, and -3 health points. This is not a damage dealing effect. While the top one that says deal 2 damage to a creature is a damage dealing effect. So when this deal 2 damage to a creature occurs and it deals damage to this creature, you have to deduct the 2 damage dealt or the damage dealt from the creature's defense points, DP, from the creature before you can deduct any excess damage that are left from the damage dealt to the creature's health points. Sorry. But when the creature gains the stats of +2 attack points, -2 defense points, and -2 health points, those effects are deducted or added directly. So the creature gains. So I deal 2 damage to this creature, and this one has the highest attack point stats. So I'll get these two have the highest attack point stat of 5 and 5. So I choose this one. I give it +2 attack points, -2, -3 health defense points. It already has 0, so now it's -3. Oh, actually has +2, so now it's -1 and -3 health points, which makes it 0 because it gains +1 extra from this effect right here. So this one dies. So when the health of a creature goes to 0 or below, it dies. And when it dies, you remove it from the battlefield into your mortuary. So I've gotten rid of this one. I've gotten rid of that one. And I'm gonna. I guess I could have just used this one. So I tap 3 to play that one and this one, which is give a creature +2 attack points, -2 health points. I give this one that's has 1 health points, -2 health points, so its health points is not -1. Because its health points is 0 or below, it dies. You must move it into its player's mortuary. But since I don't have that many token creatures with, actually I have a few, so I just place it here. I usually tend to reuse the same creatures. So if they die, because this deck doesn't really mess with the mortuary as much. But decks that usually take cards from mortuaries, it's best to have the cards in the mortuary. But if you don't have a deck that has cards that take cards from mortuary, you just place them back to where you want them to be. This card really doesn't take cards from mortuary. Neither does this. Neither does this card. This deck doesn't target cards in this mortuary, and this deck doesn't target cards in this mortuary. It doesn't have cards that target cards in this mortuary, so I'm pretty much safe here. Actually, it does, but let's not talk about that. If it doesn't show up, I won't talk about it. And now, for the last part, this one's done. I tap 2 more. Then I discard my hand. That's what this states. Discard your hand, then draw 9 cards. But before I do that, I can choose one of these 2 options, which is the wind option, wind domain option, and the water domain option. The wind, I only have a water domain, so I have to choose the water domain option. And the water domain option states, oops. The water domain option states, move up to 4 cards to your mortuary to the top of your deck. So before I draw my 9 cards, I can move up to 4 cards from my mortuary to the top of my deck. I only move those. I guess I can move down. Nah, I won't. So I move 2 from my mortuary to the top of my deck. Now I draw 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then since I've already done what the card states, I place it in my mortuary. And I still have 4, 5. Still have 5 crystals left to play with. I have 1 Battle Brave. I show it to my opponent player, or to all players. Now it costs 5. That costs 5. And I can either play it now, or I can get rid of more of these creatures, which I will. I think I prefer getting rid of the creatures. So I tap 1 more again. I deal 2 damage to this creature again. So now it has 0 defense points because I dealt 2 damage to it earlier to get rid of the first the bonus that it has. Now it only has 2/2, so I've dealt 2 damage to it again. Now it has 0 defense points and 2 health points left. And then I give this creature that has 5 attack points another -2, so it dies. And this one, since it's done what it stated, goes into the mortuary because it's a spell. Now I have 4 crystals left. I guess I can do this as well. I have another one. So I play it again. I tap 2, deal 2 damage to this. This one dies because it only has 2 health points left. Deal 2 damage to it. It dies. And now I give this one -3. And this one dies. Oh, wait. I forgot. Completely about. Forgot completely. This is what happens when there's so many, things to look out for. There's something that comes in way before then. So I guess I can just take these 2 back. I still discard my hand. But you know what happens before then? This happened. When this creature died, all creatures gained all my this triggered. So all these creatures gained an additional +3 health points. So this one has 5 health points now. This one has 4 health points now. This one has 5, and this one has 5. So this one, I think this one of these has 5 attack points as well. And since it states when this diagram triggers, the target gains +3 defense points. So this one's defense points increase as well. So this one was dealt 2 damage earlier. So it had 2 defense points left. Now it's gained 3 additional defense points on top of that. So now it has 5 defense points and 5 health points. The health points is permanent. The defense point is onto the end of the turn. So 4 attack points. 4 health points, 3 defense points, 5 health points. Oh, it's not even 3. It's actually 6 defense points because it gained an extra one right here. So it gained an extra one from this effect. So in the end, all these cards actually survive. And to actually kill any of these, I'll have to play this, right? I deal 2 damage to this one. It has 5 defense points now compared to before when it had only 2 left. 5 defense points. I give this one with 5 attack points -3. So it's 5 health points. It's now 2 health points. This one's done. I do it again. I had 5 left. Okay, so I have 5 left. Did that now? I have 3 left. I played this. I have 3 left. I give this another one. This one dies. Now this one has -2, 3. So it has 1 defense point and 5 health points. No, 6 health points left. There's no way I'll be able to kill this turn. So I place this in my mortuary. I have 3 left. There's really nothing else I can do with the cards in my hand. This is 5, like I showed you earlier. I can attack, but there's no point in attacking because nothing will really happen except possibly. No, I guess I can attack. Attack with this one, attack with this one. I can block this, or I can block this one. If I block this one, I only need to use 1 to block it, but then I won't be able to block this one. If I block this one will attack me. They're both 4 attack points anyways. So yeah, I just block this one. So I take -4 damage. Now I'm at 9. And that's it for this, this player's turn. Now it's back to this player's turn. Oh yeah, I'm still not there yet. I still have 8 more turns left. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more turns left. So this one's now down to 1 this turn. Then at the end of this turn, this one I have to remove this one from the battlefield. I'll untap everything I have. I forgot to add an extra crystal from this hero. And now I have, so what I can do now, I have 3, 6, 9. I tap all 9 of them. No, I won't do that first. So I'll reserve this 9 for this. But what I'll do is, I want to get rid of, I just want to win the next turn. Since I want to win next turn, there's 8 here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's 14. Let me get my calculator. 14 divided by 3. So that's 4. So if I play this for 4 times, 3, 6. So 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, it's more than 4. 1, 2, 3. Actually, no, it goes in. So 3, 3. Oh yeah, there's 2 left. No. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I played this 5 times. So I play it, take it back, summon a 0, 0, 1, play it again 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are the 0, 0, 1s? I only have a few 0, 0, 1s here. Actually, I may have 5 of them. Let me see if I actually have 5 of them. If I do, I just use the 5. Nope, I do not have 5 of them. Oops. There they are. There they are. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I just use a placeholder for the 5th. So I summon 5 of these 001s. And then I tap 9. Oops. I messed up. Well, since there's 3, 6, 9, I'll play another 3. And that's it. So I tap all these to play 7 token creatures from this creature. And the creature's name is Swarm Breeder. And the theme of this expansion, where these aura crystals and aura cards, green cards come in, is themed around summoning a bunch of creatures. So unlike these great creatures, these creatures are more based off, summoning a bunch of stuff, summoning a bunch of token cards, and they're all designed around token cards. So if you really want to play a game that has a lot of token cards in them, or at least token creatures in them, you prefer the Godwrath's Welcoming expansion. That's the expansion that has these cards in them. That's pretty much just tailored around token cards, summon a bunch of creatures, buffing a bunch of token creatures, and swarming, pretty much just filling the board with a swarm of token creatures, and then winning the game with this card in 1 turn. So it's like a combo deck. So I've played all the cards that I can play. This one ends. Do I attack? Well, these have 6 health, 5 health, so they won't die at all. So attack with these 2. This one blocks this one. I deal -1 damage. 16. This one attacks the opponent player, and then it's with with 1 attack points. So it deals 1 damage because it has 1 attack damage from representing the 1 attack points that it has. So it deals 1 attack points to the opponent player's health points. I deduct 1, 1 from the 17 health points that the opponent player has. And I have 16. Now it's back to this player's turn. Move this down. Move this back into the mortuary. This is why this card is so useful. I mean, the Devour effect is so useful, is that it takes cards from mortuaries for a certain amount of turns. That means those cards for that period of time won't be accessible to the opponent player if that player has cards that take cards from the mortuary. If this card was in the mortuary before I played this card, oops. When I played this card earlier, if this card was in the mortuary when I played this card earlier, I would have been able to just take it back and just put it back into my hand. But since it was removed, I had no access to it. So that's pretty much why I like the Devour effect, because it pretty much just removes the cards from the game for a certain period of time that no player has access to. Well, no opponent player has access to. The player itself that controls the Devour effect may have cards that take the card, that puts the cards back, that puts the card into the player's hand. But that's not right now. So I draw a card, start of a turn, untap everything. Tap. Draw a card. Draw a Battle Brave, the 8 cost version. I already had this Battle Brave before. That was a 5 cost. Now it's a 3 cost because 2 turns have gone by. So I can play for 2. I play Crystal. I have this Vigilant that will always remain a 6 cost. That's the difference between both of them. And altogether, it's 8. Well, let me expose it. I expose this card, and that's a 7 cost. So that's a 7 cost, a 3 cost, a 2 cost, and a 6 cost. So this together is 9, 4, 8, 9. Tap it to play both of them. Excuse me. Now I have 6, 7, 8 cards. 8. I have 8 crystals left to play. So I can either use those 8 crystals to get rid of these creatures. Oops, I got to move this to mortuary. Play this. Or I can play this. What this states is this spell costs 1 crystal less to play for every time that you've played Entrancing Melody. That's another card in the game. Entrancing Melody is another card in the game. This game. So this spell costs 1 crystal less to play for every time that you've played Entrancing Melody this game. That's another card. But its other effect is move a card in another player's hand, deck, or mortuary into your hand. So if a player has an exposed card in their hand, you can take after you play this spell, you'll be able to take a card from that player's hand. You're able to take that exposed card from that player's hand. Otherwise, if you want to take a card from a player's hand, the card will be facing you like this. You have to guess you have to just choose a random card to take. If a card is exposed, you can just take that card. You can just say, okay, this card is exposed. I want this card. This card is exposed in your hand. So when I play this card, I can just say, hey, I want this card from your hand, instead of having to guess what card to take blindly. So that's the downside of exposed cards, is that the player can actually choose, what card to take when an effect like this occurs. So I can actually do that, but there's really not much I want from this player's hand, except this Swarm Breeder. But this Swarm Breeder isn't exposed, so I have to guess. I have to take an educated guess out of 3 cards. Well, I guess it's not educated at all. A blind guess out of 3 cards. Hopefully I get I'll take the card that I actually want. If I don't take the card that I actually want, I've already wasted. I would have wasted 8 mana for nothing. So I'll decide not to do that instead. I'll tap 6. 6. I'll play this Vigilant. And then I have 4 left. Oh, that's not 6. This is 6. This is 6. So I have 2 left. And then I decide to get rid of one of these creatures. These token creatures. So this one's done. So I give the token creature +2 attack points and -2 health points. Kills it. Place it in the mortuary, because he only has 1 attack, 1 health points. That's it. So I can attack. Let me count how many creatures on the board before I attack. If I can play, the opponent player has 9 health points left. These two, this one can't attack because it doesn't have quick. This one I played it a long time ago, and it can attack anytime now. Because I played this card this turn, I won't be able to attack with it. This one's these ones are different because it has quick, so I can attack with the same turn that I played it. If it doesn't have quick, I have to wait until the next my following turn before I can attack with it. So that's 3, 6. So at most, this player can block 1, 2, 3 creatures, battle brave creatures. And I have exactly 3 battle brave creatures. These 4 can attack, 3 of them can be blocked. If I do attack with them, I may set myself up, now I'll attack with them. So these ones attack, this one attacks. This one attacks as well, but I don't have to tap it because it has resolute. These 3 block this one. Now I'll get rid of the smaller one first. So this one has 4 attack points. This one has 2 attack points during it because this is an opponent's player's turn right now. This is an opponent player's turn right now, so it gains these stat points during your opponent's player's turn. It gains, and the stat points are the same. All rare vigilant creatures have the same stat points gained during an opponent player's turn. You can see how the numbers are exactly the same. +1, +2, +1. Then you see this one is +1, +2, +1. They're both exactly the same, but they're just different creatures. You see how it is? They're both vigilant. So it really just depends on how you want to build your deck. Well, because even the common version is also the same. As you can see, different creatures, common, but the stats gained are exactly the same. But you can see that their base stats are different because they're different creatures. So the stats may be the same, but because they have different base stats, it'll naturally have different effects. Depending on the creature it has. The higher the stats of the creature, the more powerful this effect is. Late game, early game, if it's a low cost card creature like this, then even though it doesn't have that much, base stats, just the fact that it gains this could, potentially help you win the game later, or at least stall the game early on. So these 4 attack, I would rather block with this. So this one blocks. These ones block that one. This one has 2 attack points, so nothing really happens if it blocks any of them. It doesn't die. So these 3, actually no, I can actually block all of them. So these 3 block this one. These 3 block this one. These 3 block that one. And then this one, actually there's one that has 4 health points. This one blocks this one. So I guess nothing really happens except 3 creatures die because this one has 5 attack points, and it's each when a creature with attack points is blocked. You can block an attacking creature with as many creatures as you want. So if this one attacks, all these creatures can block this one. All these creatures can block this one. All untapped creatures can block any attacking creature. I can use all of them to block one, or I can split it up to as many, when a creature with attack points is blocked by multiple creatures, the person that controls that creature gets to decide who to divide the attack points to. So 5 attack points, there are 3 creatures with 3 health points. 1 health point, 1 health point. So I'll divide that 5 attack points to 1, 2, 3. So three of the 5 attack points will be deducted, and there'll be 2 attack points left. But since the creature is already dead, there's nowhere to divide that 2 attack points to. So these 3 creatures die. These 2 die because I decided to attack these 2 first. And whichever creature you attack first, you decide to deduct attack points from, also attacks you first. So you just decide the order of what creature you attack first. You attack this creature, then you attack this creature, then you attack this creature. Same with this one, the same logic. Since these 3 are blocking this, and I only have 4 4 attack points. If I decide to deduct the 4 attack points from this creature first, this creature has +2 defense points with its additional 2 defense points. So it has 4 defense points and 3 health points. So in total, it has 7 total defense and health. That if I deduct this 4 from it, I'll have nothing left. So not only will this creature not die, these creatures will also not die because I decided to attack this one first. But since I don't want to do that, I'll attack these ones first and deduct my 4 attack points from these creatures. So I deduct 1 attack point from this creature, 1 attack point from this creature. So I'll have 2 attack points left. These 2 creatures die. Oops. And then I deduct the remaining 2 from this creature. This creature still has 5, health, 5 attack and health points total left after I deducted this. And then this creature has 4 attack points that I'll deduct from this one's stats. This one's total stats is 4. So it's exactly the same amount of, the same amount as the attack points that I'm deducting from. So I deduct 2 from this attack points, representing the 2 defense points. Since I have 2 attack points left, I'll deduct the remaining 2 from its health points, and it'll be 0. So it'll have 0 health points, and the creature with 0 health points dies. It must be placed in this player's mortuary, just like these ones. So I lost about 3 or 4 creatures. This one also is pretty much just the same process. I attack these ones to get this ones to die first. This one always remains because 4 attack points. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total defense and health points. So this one survives. It was gonna survive anyways. So I was just getting rid of these ones first, because if I attack this one will survive, and then if I attack this one first, this one will survive, and then the other ones will survive. But if I attack the other ones first, those ones will die before this one, and this one will survive anyways. So that's it. This was the creature that gained. I decided to use it as the creature that gained the +3 health points. So it has, oh yeah, it only has 4 health points. So it'll die anyways. That's true. So this one also dies. So now I went from having so many token creatures to having only 2 creatures left. So that's the downside with token creatures, is that all these cheap token creatures is that it's very easy to remove them if you don't have anything to help them get stronger. I forgot to summon a crystal. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now it's my turn again. I still can't draw cards. I'll tap every crystal that I have. And this one obviously I have nothing else to play. It already attacked. Now I have to do the same thing again. But it'll be easier this time though. Because now, and I can actually do the same thing again. So 3. I tap 3 to play this. Summon a 0/0/1 and take it back. I tap 3. Let me just tap another 3. summon another 001 to play it. 3, 4, tap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So I'm trying to end this game, so I'm trying to win the game actually. And this player has discarded a card only during their turn only once. So my summon of 001 has not been summoned. I actually will summon a 0. I don't want to make, I think I want to make it 001 or 000. I think I just make it a 000. So summon a 1 crystal has not become a summon as 2 crystal. It's a secret from earlier. The secret was summon a 0 cost 000 square token human creature. Now it's summon a 2 summon 2 1 cost 1/1/1 square token human creatures because it gains a +1 effect. Because my opponent player discarded a card during their turn from this effect earlier. They discard your hand, then draw 9 cards. And that was the only time like the opponent player has discarded a card this turn. So I can summon 2 token creatures from this just to help me out, which I will. So I summon these 2 token creatures that represent a 1/1/1 square token human creature instead of a token rat creature. And I really want to, this is 8. This is 9. I've already done, how many have I done? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've done 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I decide to play this. And I have 2 left. And this one is turn start. Duration is 2 turns. And it ends at the start of the turn. So how this one works is this card actually gets a total of 3 turns on the board, technically, because it ends at the start of the 3rd turn. It doesn't end at the start of the 2nd turn that's on the board. It ends at the start of the 3rd turn of its player's turn. So I'll show you how it works. So I played this turn, and the ticker goes down by 1 at the start of a player's turn. So right now it's still 2. At the start of my turn, it goes down to 1. My next turn, it goes down to 1. As you can see, it says D2 right there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there, it says D2. That means duration. That means the duration that will be on the board is 2 of its player's turn, of its controller's turn. So I played this turn with 9 after tapping 9 crystals, and then I do not attack. I don't think I want to attack at all. No, these two have on 4 health. Now there's no point in attacking. So that's it. This is 5. Oops. This is 5, 6, 7. So there's 7, 8, 9. So I can at least block 3 battle brave creatures again next turn. So that's it. This one draws a card. Since I want to end it, I'll not this side will not take the, let me untap my cards first. Yeah, I'll not overload. I'll overload. How many cards I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've already drawn a card, so I'll overload. Let me just overload 9. So if I don't, it'll end next turn anyways. 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I've overloaded 9. And I only got one Battle Brave creature out of all that. So I tap 8. Oops. Let me also add an extra here. So I tap 8. Oops. Now I have I haven't played a crystal this turn, so I'll play 1. I have 3, 6, 9, 10 more 10 crystals left to play. I'll tap 4 to get rid of 2 of these. I get rid of these ones. These ones have higher costs. I mean higher stats. These squires. So that's 4. This place still has 9 stats left. I mean 9 health points left. How many cards do I have left in my hand? On my deck, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's only 7 cards left in my deck. So I can't play this card that lets me draw 9 cards because I only have 7 cards in my deck. If I play it, I'll draw 9 cards, and I can't draw 9 cards. I'll lose the game immediately. So I can only do this do this now, which is I'll tap 2 more to play Melody of Wind. Give a creature or leader you control quick strike, and I'll also give it. I'll choose water, so I don't have a water domain. I'll give it +2 attack points. I'll give this one +2 attack points, and then everyone attacks. So that's it. Everyone attacks. I can block at most. I'm definitely blocking these ones. They have 5 attack points. That's enough to kill me. So these 3 block this one, these 2. This one blocks this one. No, this one has 6 attack points. Then I take 7 damage this turn. So 7 minus 9, 2. 2 health points left. These ones die. This one dies. Or I can play a bit more. I can play a bit more. Yeah, block this one. I can't block the Battle Brave. That's 6. I guess I may be dead this turn anyways. If I think about it. These 3 block this one. These 3 block this one. And either way you look at it, unless I block this one, this has 2 attack points. This has 4 attack points. This has 5 health points. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll survive one more round. -8. So I have 1 health points left. These all die. Place them in a mortuary. And then that's nothing else there's nothing else I can do. Yep, there's nothing else I can do. So it's my turn again. Now it says at the start of your turns, you may destroy a creature. So this turn, its duration on the board goes down by 1. So now it has one more turn, which is the current turn. So it has this turn left to be on the board. And then since it says turn start, at the start of my turn, when it goes down again by 1, on my next turn, I have to remove it from the board. So it actually stays on the board for 3 turns. If it didn't say turn start but turn end, then at the end of this current turn will be when I have to remove it from the board. But since it stated current turn start, at the start of my next turn will be when I have to remove it from the board. So I'm not drawing any cards. So I have 4 here. There's a lot of crystals, but I can barely use them. But maybe next turn I probably will be able to use it. So this turn I played this how many times? It's 4. I think I'll probably be able to survive next turn. Then I'll probably win. It's 4. I mean, it's 8. This makes it 9. So that's 3. If I tap all that, that's 3. Oops, there's a crystal. That's 3. 1, 2, 3. And then 3, 6, 9. These are all different copies of this creature, of this crystal. So 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 more. So I type that. And then 1, 2, 3, 1 more. And type that. So all together, I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 token creatures. Hopefully next turn they'll survive. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because this player overloaded 9 last turn. I have nothing else to play. And then it'll be this player's turn. Doesn't draw a card because they overloaded 9 last turn. Play that. And then since I have nothing else to play myself, I'll tap 8 first to take a card from this player's hand. I tap 8 again. Take another card from this player's hand. So 8. I think I have 8 here. 4. 4. 4. So I have 3 left. I'll tap this to play that. So I have 2 left. And attack again. All attack this time. And this time, oh, I can't. I have to block every single one of them. So I'll block this. So this one dies. So it has 4 attack points. I block this one. Then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Wow. That's so in the end, these cards still die. So these cards die. Nothing happens. This card dies because 4 attack points. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 defense points and health points in total. These ones die. These two survive. And then there's nothing else for me to play. My turn starts. It still hasn't even been the ninth turn yet, so I still have 3 more turns to go. I have no cards in my hand. This one says at the start of your turn, you may destroy a token creature you control. I have no creatures, token creatures to destroy. Nothing happens. The turn is at the start of the turn. This one, I'll move this into my mortuary. I only have 2 cards left. And wow, I've lost. So this player's turn is not as this player's turn again because there's nothing I can do. I guess I can attack. These 2 attack. So unblocks this one. Minus 16, minus 1, 15 health. This one doesn't draw a card, I forgot. And now I can use these illusion jewels to play these 2 cards. I can only, obviously I can't play this one. This is cost 10. I only have 8 maximum metro crystals. So I can play this a few times. I can also play another metro crystal this turn. So that next turn I can play. So I play that instead. I'll untap all these. These ones attack. I only have 2 creatures maximum. You need a maximum of 3 or more creatures to block these cards because they have formidable. I only have 2, so all 3 of them attack, and I can't block any of them. So I take 14 damage in 1 turn. Minus 14, negative 13, and this side loses. All because the cards got stolen. This is how fun this game is sometimes. Just thought I was winning. I wanted this side to win, but in the end, it still lost. Thought I had it all, planned out, all set. And just because of these cards, these cards are the Drenier Reeve cards, come from the Witness to Divine Comedy expansion. And Drenier Reeve is pretty much a mana crystal, ether crystal, and a metro crystal hero. You can see how the white background of this hero, of this card, see the white background? This one also has a white. See, this also has a white background because they're both neutral cards from the neutral They're neutral cards and their expansions are neutral expansions because the heroes themselves do not have a faction, or they have a faction that's neutral in the world setting of the storyline. So since the cards are based, the expansions are based off the heroes themselves, so a neutral hero will have neutral cards in their expansions, and it's pretty fun. To Drenier Reeve, let's go back to Drenier Reeve. Most of the cards are cards that steal cards, take cards from opponent's player's side, steal creatures from the board to play, steal cards from opponent player's hands. It's a pretty fun hero to play if you like theft, stealing cards. And since their cards are neutral, you can pretty much fit them in more cards and more decks than you will a card like this. See, it's green on the edge. That's an aura. The faction is an aura faction, so that's why they have an aura crystal, which is also has a green border. So yeah, each hero has its own faction. Even the neutral faction is also a faction. So it's a fun game, and it's pretty much fun, mixing and matching all these cards from these different expansions, and just seeing how they all work together. Because this is a neutral expansion, playing with cards. Most of the cards are the Godwrath's Welcoming expansion, and the Godwrath's Welcoming expansion also has its own creature. Like I said, its own creatures. These also have their own creatures, which are these. So the Knights of Themis, Squires. It's a fun game, and it's very fun figuring out how, after you have your whole strategy planned out, then find out the whole thing doesn't even work, or it's a fun game. And the fact that you have so many options makes it even more fun. The fact that you just have so many options to choose from, even within the same card, you can choose so many different options of it. The same card with so many different options. It's a fun game. So let me not mix things up. These two goes here. Then put these back. Well, I think that'll be it. I think that'll be it for today. I'll try to make more, more videos like this where I pretty much just go through the decks. I'm gonna be playing more with this deck with this hero. So I actually I want to see how the deck plays out in the long run. Because just playing one deck doesn't really. Just playing one game doesn't really tell you much about the deck. Playing it a few times to get you, a summary, a good idea of how the deck usually plays. And not to mention, this deck is a relatively powerful. This card is a relatively powerful card. So decks with this card in them tends to be very powerful in general, simply because you can play a 9 cost card as a 1 cost or even as a 0 cost the longer you have it in your hand. And also, the more players there are in the game, the quicker you can play this card because it goes down each player's turn. So the moment you show this card, if there are 5 players playing, by the time it goes back to your turn, it's gone down by 5, if not 6. So a 9 cost card could be played pretty much almost the next turn or the turn after. So while players are still trying to put crystals on the board, you can already start slamming down the 9 cost or 6 cost or 2 cost. So this deck is actually pretty fun as well. This is actually a very, very fun deck and hard to play against. So seeing how this one can actually survive to a certain extent, it can also win too, shows that this deck is also pretty strong. This deck actually favors the late game compared to this deck. This deck does well late and early game simply because you can take your cards back and play them again, and you can steal cards. That's also a good effect. So not only can you steal cards from your opponents if you have no cards left in your hand, at the early game you have these cards that you can cheat out very quickly. So this is a pretty fun deck to play and this a more slow paced deck that just gets more and more powerful the later the game goes, because you have more and more crystals that you can just that keeps coming up every at the end of your turn. The crystal keeps increasing. You don't have to play crystals. You don't have to worry about crystals anymore. They just keep coming and just keep coming, and you just it just makes it much easier to play bigger cards compared to that deck that may end up struggling to play bigger cards that aren't discard battle brave cards, while this deck can pretty much just play 19 cost, 15 cost, 16 cost cards easily. So it's a fun game. I'll see you next time. Yeah, we'll meet next time. See ya. Bye.